Hi guys, today we are replanting the Arborvitae hedge. If you remember, a little over a year ago, we planted an Emerald Green Arborvitae hedge all along our fence line that leads out to the front yard and the driveway. It was beautiful. It was tiny when we first planted it, but it did put on a little bit of size and I really enjoyed it. But the one thing that I didn't care for was the fact that it wasn't deer resistant. And I figured at the time, you know what? It's not going to be too difficult to throw some stakes and some netting over them in the winter and protect them from the deer. But unfortunately, I had waited a little too long before I did that. So when I came out here last winter, one of the arborvitaes had been chewed all the way down, or pretty much most of the way down. And it was at that moment I realized, you know what? I don't want to fight Mother Nature anymore because it's just, there's too many other things going on. So we decided to get rid of the emerald green. So I had them, I donated them to Brookside Gardens. They came and picked them up. I showed you guys that. And I had found a new, it's not a new variety, but it's a new variety to me of Arborvitae. It's the baby brother or the middle brother of the Green Giant Arborvitae. And if you are familiar with the Green Giant Arborvitae, those things get massive, 30 to 50 feet tall, 15 to 25 feet wide. And they're beautiful, but they're huge. And in a space like this where it's only maybe like 10, 12 feet or up to 15 feet, it's just way too big. But the Green Giants are a Thuja Plicata or a Western cedar, and they're more deer resistant than the Emerald Green. So I was like, oh, I wish they had a smaller variety. Lo and behold, online searching, there is the baby brother or the medium brother, the Junior Giant Arborvitae. So there's the Green Giant that gets really big, the Junior Giant, which we're going to be planting today. It gets 15 to 20 feet tall and only 3 to 5 feet wide. How did I not know about this sooner? And then there's an even smaller one called the Baby Giant that gets anywhere, I think, from 8 to 10 feet or 10 to 12 feet, but it gets 6 feet wide. And that's a little too wide. Again, that's a little too wide for this area, but 15 to 20 feet tall and only 3 to 5 feet wide, that is perfect. And they grow a lot faster than the Emerald Greens. So the Junior Giants, once they get acclimated, give them like one season, they can put on anywhere from 3 to 5 feet of growth per year. That's crazy. So think about it. These tiny little plants behind me, in a matter of like 2 seasons, could put on like 6 to 8 feet or up to 10 feet. Oh my God, that's like a quick instant hedge. Not a quick hedge, but still, if you like to watch them grow like I do, that's pretty quick. So that is what we're gonna be doing today. I do want to give you the stats on these again real quick. So again, these are the Junior Giant Arborvitaes. They grow 15 to 20 feet tall, 3 to 5 feet wide. They're hardy in zones 5 through 8. And once established, like after the first year, they can put on upwards of 3 to 5 feet of growth per year. So these are just a little over 2 feet. So in a matter of maybe like a year and a half, they can put on an additional 3 to 5 feet. That is a very quick growing arb. And these look a little different than the Emerald Greens. They're not as vibrant a green, and they've got a little bit more of like an open branching texture to them, I guess. They look a little bit more airy and they have a little bit more movement in the wind, which I actually like. The Emerald Greens are beautiful, but they're a lot denser and they're more pyramidal, conical shaped. These kind of just have a gentle movement about them. And I kind of like these a lot more than the Emerald Greens. I just think they're so pretty and they smell really good. I love that smell. It's kind of like a piney, citrusy smell. Now you may notice that these look a little different than the ones I showed you back in November when these arrived. That's because this is a brand new shipment. We did a video on them when we first got them in November. We did an unboxing, we've repotted and watered them in, but something happened to them over the course of the winter and I'm not 100% sure, but they all perished. They were watered, they were getting plenty of sun, but I don't know what exactly happened, but they all just started to crisp up from the bottom and completely defoliate. There was literally, I mean, you can see now, it's just crunchy. They're all just falling off. All of the leaves are falling off. So not 100% sure what happened to these, but it happened to every single one of them. If it had happened to a few of them, I would have probably said maybe the weather, but the fact that the entire lot of them perished made me think maybe this was a bad batch, or maybe something was going on with them that we just couldn't see. So I contacted the company that I ordered them from because I wanted to let them know, hey, there may be something going on with this batch. I just want to let you guys know. They were so nice and so sweet. They asked me for a couple pictures. I sent them in, and they sent me an entire new batch out. 20 new Junior Giant Arborvitaes. They're a little bit smaller in root ball, but they're the same size. They're just over 2 feet. But that was just, I was not expecting that. That was so nice of them. So it was really, really fortunate that they were able to do that. We got a brand new batch of Arborvitaes. They look beautiful, and we're gonna plant them. So this is where we're gonna be planting them. I came out here a few days ago and prepped the entire area. I did it off camera because you guys have seen me prep areas before. I just came in and leveled it a little bit, scraped off any excess grass that the sod cutter had missed, and I put down a layer of landscape fabric right along the fence line. And the reason I did that is because our neighbors have grass too. And this grass is pretty intense. It likes to shoot out rhizomes, so it will eventually creep in if we let it. So I dug a 2-inch trench all the way down along the fence line. I put a layer of landscape fabric down 3 feet wide, tacked it down with landscape fabric staple or landscape staples, and I'm hoping that this will prevent the grass a little bit from trying to creep in until we come back in and remove the fence and replace it, because there's a couple posts that are pretty much shot. One of you guys commented on the video when we removed the sod, and you suggested that we get like metal edging and put it down along the fence line, but about 10 to 12 inches deep to help keep the grass or any weeds from growing in. And we do plan on doing that, but we want to do it when we replace the fence. And we decided we were just going to hold off a little bit longer on the fence. But honestly, once we get these trees planted and mulched and everything, it's going to look so pretty. And then when we come in to replace the fence, maybe next year or something, we still will be able to install that metal edging, because once the fence is gone, we can just come in from behind the hedge and get everything installed and situated. So I'm not too worried about planting it now and then having to come back in and install any type of edging or anything, because again, with the fence being removed and replaced, we're gonna have access to the back of the hedge anyway. So, you know, we just decided to wait a little bit longer on the fence. Mo's gonna come out and help. He's gonna aug all the holes while I plant all the trees. Then we're gonna come in with some topsoil and mulch. I don't think we have enough to do the whole bed. Even if we did, I wouldn't wanna do the whole bed because we still have a whole bunch of planting to do. But I would like to get a layer of topsoil and mulch down to cover the landscape fabric. But we'll just, you know, see how far we get. And we don't really need a lot in the way of tools. I've got the 7-inch auger, a kneeling pad, our biotone starter fertilizer, some scissors to cut through the landscape fabric, and of course, my measuring tape. And I did bring out this little portable fan too, just in case. The gnats are pretty intense right now, so I'm hoping the fan just keeps them away from my face and eyes. We've planted so many trees together, but I do like to show you in every video how I'm gonna plant the first one before we just take off and get the whole thing done. I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but we're planting them 2 feet in from the chain link fence and 3 feet apart from the center of each tree. So from the chain link fence to this green stake is 2 feet, and then from this stake to this stake is 3 feet. All right guys, so I'm gonna show you how to plant the first one, and then Mo and I are just gonna tackle the rest of them. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the landscape fabric so we can actually get the auger in here. And then I'm just gonna fold the corners in and under. And so this is the center. So this is where we're gonna put the tip of the auger and get our hole dug. And I'm using the 7-inch auger, and we're just going to aug our hole. And the beauty of having these smaller root balls, we don't have to dig too deep to get them in, because I am going to plant them an inch higher than the soil line and create kind of like a hill or a berm around them. And you can see, I know it looks like I'm planting it a lot deeper, but that's just the auger kicking up a lot of the soil. Biotone starter fertilizer, it's really good. It doesn't promote a lot of foliage growth. It concentrates itself more on root development, and I've used it on pretty much everything that I've planted, with the exception of sedum and Russian sage and things that don't like nice soil, that like crummy soil. So I'm just gonna put a little bit in the hole and around our soil that we backfill. A little more. Mix it in. And then I'm just going to tamp the soil down a little bit. I don't know why they put that in there. Now we're just going to position our tree in the hole, make sure it's facing the direction we want it to be facing, because every tree has a front and a back side. You can kind of see this looks like the back side a little bit. It's a little more flatter. So we'll put that towards the fence. And of course I have to measure. 24, perfect. Mo, does that look straight to you? Okay. So now I'm just gonna backfill and get our new tree nice and snug. So you guys can see, I kind of held it up a little bit, so it's already, I'm losing my words here. I'm creating kind of like a little hill, so that way when it rains or when we water, the water is going to flow away from the center of the trunk. I don't want to plant it deep or even at soil level, because the soil will tend to settle a little bit, and then what's going to happen is that the water is going to go towards the center of the tree. It's going to stay too wet, it's going to rot it out and kill it. Now, with the landscape fabric, what you can do is, if you want, you can take all the corners and put them back up like this, right along the trunk, and then just cover it up with more soil, topsoil mulch. I think I'm going to cut a little bit off of each corner. That way there's about 3 or 4 inches exposed from the trunk, and so then when we come in and fertilize later on or next year, it'll get right into the soil. It won't have to penetrate the landscape fabric. So let me show you that real quick. So all I'm going to do is just cut the corner off. There. And there we are. So now Mo and I are going to get the rest of them planted. Then we'll come back in, put a layer of topsoil, mulch, and get them all watered in. You ready, Mo?
Yep.
All right, guys, I just wanted to give you an update. We got them all planted. They look so good. Look at them all. Don't they look so pretty? I know they look a little bit smaller than when they were in their containers, but they look so good. And I'm so happy to see green along this fence line again. Look at that. So I did come in after we planted all of them. I did come in with Plant Tone and give them a little top dressing of fertilizer just to kind of give them a little extra oomph. Some of them were looking a little tired, a little stressed. So I just wanted to make sure they had enough nutrition for the season to root in and just get acclimated. This one, especially on the end, you can see up here, it's looking a little yellow. So I gave it a little extra Biotone starter fertilizer and I hit it with Plant Tone as well. So hopefully it will rebound a little bit. So all we have left to do is topsoil and mulch. We're gonna take a quick little hydration break and then we're gonna jump right back into it. All right, guys, we got the topsoil down and watered in to kind of lock it in place, but we decided to hold off on the mulch because we need to pick up more topsoil. We spread 13 bags of topsoil from one end to the other, and it covered the landscape fabric, but just barely. And I wasn't able to create the size of berm that I wanted. So instead of just rushing the whole thing, we decided we'll run and pick up some more topsoil this week. We'll lay it down, get it watered in, and then we'll mulch everything. And I will show you guys an update. But until then, it looks so good just the way it is right now. I'm so happy with it. Let me show it to you because it looks so good. Look at these. Don't they look so good? We're coming into the sun now, so you'll be able to see them a little bit better. But oh my goodness, you guys, look at all of them. I can't tell you how happy I am to see green along this fence line again, and knowing that these could potentially grow 3 to 5 feet in a year. I cannot wait. That means they could be above the fence next year. Now, this one, as I mentioned earlier, looked like it was struggling a little bit. So I did hit it with a little more starter fertilizer, and I fertilized everything with Plant Tone just before we put the topsoil down. So they got a 1-2 punch, but oh, look at them. And let me show you from here. It is a perfect straight line. 2 feet from the fence, 3 feet from the center of the trunk to the center of the trunk, and so on and so on. And eventually, you know, when they get bigger, it won't matter so much if we were off a few inches here or there, because you're not going to be able to tell. This one over here, though, look at this one. It's kind of doing a little whoop, but I tried to plant it as straight as possible down towards the base of the trunk, because that looks really straight. It's just the top portion, and I'm hoping that with the sunlight, it'll just kind of straighten itself out and correct itself. Either way, though, it'll give this hedge a little character. But you guys, I'm just so happy with this. Again, so happy to see green in here. So again, these are the Junior Giant Arborvitaes. They grow 15 to 20 feet tall, 3 to 5 feet wide. They're hardy in zones 5 through 8, and once established, they can put on 3 to 5 feet of growth per year. And you guys, I am so happy that we got these in the ground. There's green along the fence line again, and I cannot wait to show you guys updates on how they're doing. And that is it for our video today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.